Today marks half a year since President Trump took office again, and already his second term is shaping up to be even more consequential than his first. The president has followed through on promises to ramp up deportations, impose tariffs, target his political enemies, including the news media, reduce the federal bureaucracy, and slash U.S. aid to foreign countries, even as he does fall short on some promises, such as the one to immediately end wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, to fully preserve Medicaid, to end inflation, and, very notable this past week, his administration's early vow to fully release all of the Epstein files. Trump this morning said in these 6 months he, quote, totally revived a major country, unquote. The Democratic National Committee, not surprisingly, has a different take, saying this half-year mark means your life is worse off unless, quote, you're a billionaire licking your lips over a tax windfall or a CEO receiving fat government contracts. But what about the American people? What do the American people think? A new CNN poll this week shows 58% of the American people disapprove of the president's job performance. And in fact, the president appears to be losing ground among voters on some key issues that have historically been his strengths, such as handling of the economy and immigration. But if there is one thing the president has always been able to count on, it is the enthusiastic support of his base. That support in question this week, however, as the president tried to brush off the controversy over a decision to not release the full Justice Department files on disgraced pedophile and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. But after fierce blowback from his base, President Trump did call for the release of some Epstein grand jury material. Joining me now is a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Democrat Amy Klobuchar from the great state of Minnesota. Thank you for joining us, Senator. Appreciate it. So right now, we're in the middle of a procedure. The president, frustrated with this issue, has asked his Attorney General Pam Bondi to release what he calls the pertinent grand jury testimony from cases involving Epstein and his longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who's in prison. That information, however, even if it's released, will only be about crimes committed by Epstein and Maxwell, and experts say it will almost certainly not mention the other wealthy and powerful individuals who may have gotten away with crimes that they were not charged with. You're a former prosecutor. What do you think is responsible to be released?
Well, Jake, this has gotten to the point because of promises made by the president. By the way, another host of promises not kept, whether he promised he was bringing prices down, he has not, promised he would keep people on Medicaid, they're getting kicked off, and now promises that they're going to release these Epstein files made while they were in office, while the Attorney General was in office. Promises made by the man who is now the FBI director. So you get to a point, and this is how I view it as a former prosecutor, you have to protect the victims if you release documents. That's fairly easy to do. You just redact the names of victims, and you've seen documents like that before. But this has gotten to the point where they have just sown distrust in the justice system. They promised that these documents would be out there. They literally gave people binders that said Part 1, and now suddenly, with a whistleblower reporting that 100,000 documents were reviewed by the FBI to look for the president's name, they've suddenly pulled back and said, no, we're not releasing them. So to me, as a former prosecutor, there are times when you release things for the good of the country. This is one of those times, and you don't go and say, oh, we're just going to see if a judge will let us do part of the evidence, part of the files that are over here in this grand jury proceeding after dissing judges forever. Give me a break.
I want to play something your Senate colleague Ron Wyden of Oregon said on the Senate floor earlier this week.
Somewhere in the Treasury Department, Mr. President, locked away in a cabinet drawer, is a big Epstein file that's full of actionable information. Follow the money details about its financing and operations that await investigation.
Julie Brown, the investigative reporter whose Miami Herald story in 2018 really brought this Epstein case back into the forefront. She says that file of financial records would be a trove of information in terms of finding other guilty parties. Do you think the Treasury Department should release what they have on Epstein too?
Like I said, things should be released. We should know what happened here. And it is a claim that this president has made time and time again, and the American people have the right to know what happened.
So President Trump posted on Truth Social Friday, quote, if there was a smoking gun on Epstein, why didn't the Democrats who controlled the files for 4 years and had Garland and Comey in charge use it? Because they had nothing unquote. After the Miami Herald story broke in 2018, you said there was something not right in the Epstein case. But it's true that the president says there, Democrats didn't really seem to do anything about the Epstein files throughout the 4 years of the Biden administration. I mean, should you have? You sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator Marsha Blackburn for years has been trying to get flight records and other information about Epstein released, and she seems to have been the only one on that committee trying to do so.
So the president blaming Democrats for this disaster, Jake, is like that CEO that got caught on camera blaming Coldplay, okay? Like, this is his making. He was president when Epstein got indicted for these charges and went to prison. He was president when Epstein committed suicide. And then there was another case, as you know, that continued during the Biden administration. But he was president back then, so all of us would believe they know what's in these documents. They know it's there. They've been claiming forever that they should be released. And it is the Trump administration that gave a bunch of binders that said Volume 1 to reporters just in the last month. It is the Trump administration that has made this promise that they're going to release it. So I am blaming Democrats for this. To me, I'm sorry, this is the people that have been fomenting this are right-wing influencers, members of Congress, people who have a reason that they want to know what's in there. They believe the president when he said there's stuff in there that people should see. Wall Street Journal, these are not bastions of liberalism or wild progressives that have come out and said the public have a right to know what is in these documents.
You visited New Hampshire last weekend to campaign for Congressman Chris Pappas in his Senate race. New Hampshire, of course, an early primary state. Now that Joe Biden is no longer in office, New Hampshire goes back to the front of the line. Are you considering at all a presidential run in 2028? And what do Democrats need to do to get your dismal approval ratings up?
I think every Democrat, national Democrat, including myself, is focused on this upcoming election, which is the midterms, okay? That's why I was there to help Chris Pappas, who's a tremendous candidate. And what you've seen is we've got now incredible candidates that are running all over the country. We are going to be focusing on a forward-looking agenda to counteract all the crap that's been going on with this administration. And when you look at the enthusiasm of our voters that are showing up, the people in the middle, moderate Republicans, independents that hate the chaos and the corruption and the costs going up, I am feeling better and better about how Democrats are doing every single day. And the polls show that the president, some of them, including one Fox News poll, similar to some of the things that you've been showing, the president's approval ratings are way underwater when it comes to his handling of the economy. And that's what people are talking about in New Hampshire and Minnesota, any state across the country. They go in the grocery store, and the president can tell them inflation isn't a factor, but they just see the prices going up, a doubling of the price of coffee. That's what they're seeing out there right now. And he can say what he wants. He can do what he wants on Truth Social and blame Fox News when they put a post on and say, hey, we don't like them, except maybe some of their anchors are great, and bully on the media. But the facts are there for the American people the minute they walk into a grocery store.
So 2028, you're not ruling it out, fair to say?
No. I am focused on my job in the Senate, and I'm really focused on our great candidates that are up all across the country. And anyone else that's not doing that right now, I think that they better look at what Donald Trump is doing to our economy and doing to our democracy and our Constitution.
Senator Amy Klobuchar, the great state of Minnesota, thanks so much.